Anyway, we appreciate it.
How are you?
I got here and I thought, well, I didn't think about what it would take to introduce Richard Cortez because he's been on the public scene here forever. He finished his term as mayor from 2005 to 2013. He was chairman of the Border Trade Alliance and vice chairman of the Texas Border Coalition. And I know he's been concerned about things like immigration because, and I'll close my introduction with this. I got a call years ago when I had a morning program on KURV, and it was Mr. Cortez, and I thought, what did I say? Did I say something about him? I couldn't remember what the program was about, and he talked for about 20 minutes about immigration. So this is not a new thing with Mayor Cortez. This is what he's going to talk to us about tonight, and what I think, at least in part, we will deal with in Futuro is things he's been thinking about for a long time. Mayor Richard Cortez.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I want to start by really thanking Futuro McAllen for giving me an opportunity to give this presentation. I want to also give you my interpretation of that information. And I want to caution you that I may be wrong. Okay? But I'm going to let you decide what you feel is the appropriate way to interpret the information that I'll be sharing with you tonight. I was inspired because for almost the last year, my wife had some medical issues. She's fine now, but it took a long time to diagnose what was wrong with her. And as a result, our son-in-law is a physician, and he took very good care of her. And really, one night as we were having dinner, my wife really thanks him and says, Gopi, I said, I really want to thank you for all the care and attention that you've given me throughout this. And my son-in-law's response was to me very touching because he said, Mama Duck, and that's the way he calls her. He said, what good is having knowledge and skill if you can't use it to help others? So when I have been looking at a lot of information in the normal course of business for myself, haven't been the mayor, haven't been in Border Trade Alliance, haven't been in a lot of organizations that I receive information, I said, golly, I see some possible disturbing trends in the horizon that we all need to pay attention. So with your permission, I'm going to start by basically almost telling you what you already know. The American economy is made up of 70% personal domestic consumption. That means what we Americans consume makes 70% of our economy. The other 30% come from corporate spending, government spending, excess exports over imports, and things of this nature. But the largest portion of our economy is what we American consumers consume. So if President Obama were to call us and says, we have a great need in America, we want to improve our economy, then where would be the greatest area or the largest area to look at for improvement? It would be in the 70%. That's the largest portion of our economy. Well, after World War II, the American economy was really helped because the baby boomer generation grew. Soldiers came back, we were in peace, and we just have the most prolific generation in the history of the world. And at the same time, really, America, and I guess the rest of the world, also started to practice consumer credit, where you had your Sears card, you had your American Express and Visa, MasterCard, and whatever. So the combination of that huge generation called the baby boomers and credit, consumer credit, really fueled our economy. So today we find ourselves to have the largest economy in the whole world. Well, something also happened in the 1960s. And in the 1960s, America and the world started to practice birth control. So the generations that followed after the baby boomers became smaller than that. So I put an illustration here, let me see, to help me tell you how I looked at this data. I said, okay, just in very simple analysis, you know, who are our consumers? Well, we have those that are employed, those that are in business, and they receive money through their wages, through their earnings, or business profits, or investment income, credit, and their savings. That's where the consumers get their money. Then we have some that are not employed. They're receiving retirement benefits, disability benefits, welfare benefits, unemployment benefits for those that are unemployed. They use their savings and their credit. So if you follow this with me for a moment, let's start with consumers. They, of course, spend money. And if you wanted to quantify the size of our economy, the economists basically take number of households and multiply it by household income. So that becomes two critical factors in measuring the size of the economy. Number of households, household income. So again, if President Obama calls you and says, what are you going to do to help me improve this economy? Then if you increase the number of households and you increase the household income, by definition, the economy is growing. Well, what happens then when you have those consumers requesting those goods and services? Businesses grow and expand. They produce profits. They invest in infrastructure. They invest in inventory, employ workers, pay taxes. That's the American way. That's what we want. But the consumers fuel businesses. Because if we don't have consumers asking for those goods and services, then we don't have the growth in the business, in the business sector. Well, government always shares in the success of businesses and individuals because they tax us. Do you all know that 47.19%, it varies from year to year, but more or less, of the government's revenues come from personal income taxes. Okay. So if you work for the government and you were going to say, golly, I want to help more citizens in America and I want to give them more benefits or more anything, the biggest source of revenue to the government are the earnings and taxes that individuals pay. So are you beginning to understand the importance of the individual American? How important that single individual is to all of us? How it all starts with that person consuming, and then it goes around in a circle, in a cycle? Well, then the government gets money. Pays out what? Social Security benefits, disability payments, unemployment, all the various things that we find ourselves receiving from the government. Well, the first thing that I want to discuss with you today as a factor that I looked at in my analysis of this, and I want to leave this here for a moment because I want to bring you back to how it impacts this. America is aging. Today, we find ourselves that 1/8 of our population is over the age of 65. According to the demographers and everybody out there, by 2035, 1/5 of Americans are going to be over the age of 65. 20% of our people in America are going to be over the age of 65. Our median age right now is almost 39, age 39, is moving up to age 40, which means that half of all the people in America are going to be over 40, the other half are going to be under 40.